Hi, everybody. How are you? This is Payman Javadi on a fairly cold morning here in October, I guess October 7th, um, and to 2025, October 7th, 2025. It's kind of early in the morning, so forgive my not being fully awake. But anyway, good to see you, everybody. Please make sure you subscribe and like. Topics with Mr. Javadi is the name of the channel. And I am just really grateful to bring you some excellent update. And that is that I recently had the immense privilege of interviewing Mr. Vinnie Zummo from New York. Actually, he's from Staten Island, but he lives in New York for quite a while now. This New Yorker, this wonderful man, played guitar for some famous people. He's mostly known for playing guitar for Joe Jackson for quite the while, about a decade, maybe a little bit less or maybe more, something like that. He played guitar for Joe Jackson, toured with him, and just did all sorts of phenomenal music with that famous piano player. Um, he then, of course, went into a solo career and has done a tremendous job as well in that solo career and done immense music in that regard. At the end of the interview, I'll be sure to give you a link which Vinny sent me, Mr. Zumo sent me, to show you where to access his music and to basically promote his music, and which I'm more than honored to do because not only, in my humble opinion, not only is he a great musician, but he is, what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, Down to earth. He talks with you just as though you were his next door neighbor. And I love that. I love that. Being a former teacher myself, as many of you know, I always felt number one thing in the classroom, bar none, was attitude. I felt that if you have the right attitude, the rest is easy. And it truly was. It proved the test of time. I taught for 30 years. So, um, and I saw that over and over. I saw that. And so Vinny has that. He carries that with him. He's an amazing guy. I hope you enjoyed the interview. I should also explain to you that it's in two segments, so don't be surprised by that, because there were some, as the old days they used to say. Remember technical difficulties? We had some technical difficulties, and so I had to basically do it in two takes. So we lost internet connection on the first one, and so I had to do a second take to follow up on that the next day. So we did, and we have put it together by the time you watch this. And so just be aware of that. So if things look a little different, that's why, you know. But we got all the questions in and all the answers in, and I hope that you really enjoy it. Please support this channel, like and subscribe, and get the word out. Get the word out. It is a very competitive sport, and good for it. Bless it. It should be. Thank you very much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Topics with Mr. Javadi. I am just thrilled to no end to have today's guest with us, Vinnie Zummo. Uh, I'll let him introduce himself here in a little bit, but he's worked with people like Joe Jackson and Roger Daltrey, Art Garfunkel. I mean, the list goes on and on. And of course, he himself. Let me tell you, this man is a walking library of music. I mean, the volumes of music that he's produced, that he's arranged and done, it's just unbelievable. Recent discovery for me, unfortunately, I wish I had known about him when I was a lot younger. But hey, if I live another 30 years, I'm in good shape.
Ah,
I'm gonna keep listening to him. So I've been loving his music. But anyway, Mr. Zumo, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your generosity of your time. Please
oh, no
introduce
problem.
please introduce yourself if you would.
My name is Vinnie Zummo. I'm best known for my 7 years with Joe Jackson. I've done a ton of studio work. I've written jingles, I've written TV themes, I've written movie music, any kind of music. I've done hip hop sampling DVDs. That was big a few years ago. So I
Yeah.
keep busy. I like lots of different things. I also have a jazz trio we perform occasionally.
And on your trio, is it bass, guitar, and drums, or
Yes. And
yeah?
then Janice usually sings half the set. I play half the set. I found that it just too much, all that guitar with three pieces. It just was too much the same, the same, the same. To break it up with a voice, especially a voice like hers. I mean, I've seen in our audiences, I've looked out and seen bikers crying when she sings a ballad, how emotional her voice can be, you know?
Her her voice is incredible,
And that's
incredible.
something.
I listened to it, and yeah, her voice is amazing.
She's a
Um,
great songwriter as well.
yeah, well, and I'm sure of that. We'll get into all of that. But anyway, let me just confess to the audience that last time, um, technology, I'm probably at a C plus right now. But last time I
Better
messed
than
up.
me.
Yeah. Last time I messed up on the recording, and so this is Mr. Zumo's generosity of time. He is that right there. That right there should tell you what a wonderful person he is. It's his
Well, first
second.
thing, first thing, call me Vinny. Don't call me Mr. Zumo.
Okay, I
That was
will.
my father.
It's
You
my teaching background, I guess. But
know?
Vinny, okay, very nice of you. But just look at the niceness he has. That's what I would start out with. It motivated me, by the way. I'm listening to his music, and in a little bit I'll share more. But the other day I went downtown Greeley, which is where I live, just a little bit north of Denver. Um, this is what happened. The alley, the alley. Lots of mural artwork on the walls, spray paint, mural artwork on the walls. I went down there and I enjoyed that artwork. And oddly enough, a lot of it had to do with instruments and music.
Hmm.
And and I just loved it. I loved it. But that would not have happened probably had I not just recently met Vinny, because he is filled with life, with music, with art appreciation, and it's just amazing. But anyway, your thoughts on that, Vinny?
Uh, in what respect?
Well, just the idea that you like to appreciate, music, art, etc.
Well, I like the combination of the two is a great thing. I love making the album covers. It's one of the things that makes me sad about no more CDs, DVDs. Hold on a second. Let me tell her I'm okay. Jan, I'll call you back later. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Sorry, she was trying to help me, but we already found out what was wrong. So
Yeah, no, that's
yeah,
fine.
so art. It's all, one thing I've realized. I once me and Janice were asked to be extras on a film, and it was Francis Ford Coppola. His daughter made a short film as part of a three-story arc in something called New York Stories. Woody Allen did one. I forget who the third guy was, and Coppola. And we were extras in the background. And I realized, like, once we started doing the few lines I had or whatever we had to do, I said, like, oh, this is goes to the same place you go to get the music, only I don't speak the language. I don't
Hmm.
know there's a craft to acting. And I certainly didn't know what it was, but I realized it's coming from the same exact place. And every artist I've ever met, it's coming from that same place. It's like a
Yeah,
pot of soup, and you're pulling scoops out. It either is for music or it's for art or dance, and it's all the same thing. It's just some people don't have the vocabulary.
yeah. No, I think you're absolutely right. Well, and of course, I guess I'm just saying I was inspired, and I'm still feeling that way, and I thank you for that. But anyway, do you, by the way, realize? Do you realize, and I think you do, maybe, that you're helping people with your music?
Yeah, funny you should say that. Years ago, we had a children's jazz album,
Mm-hmm.
and I got such gratifying letters from people. See, that was a great thing. We used to make the CDs, you sell them directly to the people. So I had relationships with all the fans. We would talk. I knew about their kids, about their families. It was a wonderful thing. And some of the people would say, I was doing chemotherapy, and the only thing that calmed me down was your children's album because it was pretty sophisticated, but not
Yeah,
so
yeah,
much so that a child couldn't appreciate it. And we had such touching letters. I never realized what a reach music has to people, you know?
yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, well, let me start with this question. Your upbringing, Staten Island. I understand Christina Aguilera is from Staten Island and
Yeah.
Gene Simmons is from Staten Island. I bet there's a lot of other famous people, but anyway, you're growing up in that environment. What was it like?
Well, I never met any of those people. We also had Joan Baez, Roy Clark lived there for a while.
Okay.
I think Steven Seagal occasionally too, but I've never met any of them on Staten Island. Staten Island, it's weird in that it's very much an island. A lot of the people don't go from one end of the island to the other. Like people who live in the North Shore don't like the people from the South Shore, and none of them come to the city. I mean, I've talked to people who've never left the island to come to New York, which I
Oh,
can't.
really?
As
Wow.
soon as I could, I realized New York was a valuable source of inspiration and learning.
Well, I mean, that kind of surprises me a little bit, but I guess after I listened to you, not really. Um, however, the am I right in thinking that the art influence was pretty strong in Staten Island? Uh,
No, but there was a whole section of people who did jazz, and they took me under their wing, sat down, explained records to me, taught me how to recognize this drummer from that drummer by the way they played the right hand cymbal. And there were a lot of very dedicated people who just loved the music and didn't have much in the way of aspirations for touring or anything, but they just loved their little local gigs and playing. And there were a lot of good players there, and I learned so much from them. It's just amazing when people take you under their wing. It's really an incredible thing. And
yeah,
stuff.
and you mentioned a particular teacher. I think his name was Barry, if I'm not wrong.
Oh, Barry Galbraith. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
the one who taught
yeah,
me how to read music on the guitar.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a great experience. Sounds like.
Oh, he was wonderful. Plus, he was a guy who he worked with Charlie Parker. He worked with all the greats. I mean, he would describe sitting in a room and hearing Charlie Parker play in front of you that it was blood chilling. His sound was so big, and there was a local legend on the island called Don Joseph who was a big inspiration for me. He was a trumpeter who had issues with alcohol, so it kind of killed his career. So he really didn't do much. And he had false teeth, so they don't like to play with false teeth, trumpet players. But he still played better than most guys I ever met. And he used to sit with me and let me look at a Schoenberg score and play the music, put on a record, and teach me how to follow it. There was a lot of that going on. There were some people there who realized that I had a gift and they were going to help develop it selflessly. And I think that's in all small towns you find that.
Well, in Jesus' name, here we go. Yeah, here we go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Topics with Mr. Javadi. Yesterday we were recording the session, and don't worry, we're going to have it all put together when we edit. But yesterday it was raining very, very, very hard here in Greeley, Colorado, so I lost my internet connection. And so today I'm at the library just because I'm being paranoid and I want to make sure it goes well. So, but we're with Vinnie Zummo and we're going to continue. I guess you could say part two here. Vinnie, you were talking about, Staten Island and what a fabulous description. And the place just sounds fascinating. In fact, I would like to visit it one day. Um, so we were talking about your influences there, the jazz musicians and etc. And of course your teacher Barry, and the people that took you under their wings. So From there, I guess we now go to your home because I guess your home was very musical.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Always, always music. My two sisters played the accordion. I played the accordion. The three of us would play together. My dad played guitar on the weekends as like a part-time thing, but he was always playing. I mean, there was always some kind of music or musician in the house.
Yeah. So that's, I would say that's big time influence. You know, they say family makes a big difference in the
In my
upbringing.
case, though,
Yeah.
writing wise, I think the
Yeah.
biggest influence of my life was the fact that I was in a classical accordion orchestra. And at an early age, I got to learn those great melodies of the classics. And that stuff stays in the back of your head. You know, when you're studying great melodies, it helps you come up with a melody.
Yeah, you bet.
And
That's
the Beatles,
amazing.
you know.
You know, amazing discipline and training there. So that's, yeah, I can see the influence for sure. Um, Italian families, they're known to be very close,
Yeah.
and they're very affectionate, and you know, kind of like the Iranian families, we're the same way. Do you think that helped you as you were growing up?
Well, it all, you know, whatever you've gone through helps you be who you are now. I mean, I
Yeah,
can't say any one thing. It's just the only conscious thought I had from birth was to play music. I was
yeah.
obsessed with it and I couldn't rest until I got an instrument in my hands and learned how to play it.
Well, that's,
Basically what it was.
yeah, yeah, and that is so true. So the accordion, the instrument accordion, big influence in your life. I understand it's a German invention, but Italia, did a lot to contribute to the instrument.
Yeah, well,
And
also Chinese,
yeah,
China.
and the Chinese. Okay.
Yeah.
But the Italian contribution to the instrument is really, really significant. And I guess in 1863 there was a factory in Italy that you know, produced them and did all that stuff. But it really kind of I guess you might say revolutionized the instrument. So there's a lot of great accordion players in Italy. Have you listened to them, you know, with records and stuff like that, or not really?
Not names that I can reel off, but one great
Yeah,
thing was my uncle was my accordion teacher and pretty much a mentor, anything musical. We were very close. He wasn't a blood uncle, but he was closer than any of my real uncles. You know,
yeah, I understand that. Yeah,
he had an accordion school on Staten Island, and every weekend he'd stay over our house. So, you know, we were very, very close. And
yeah,
that was my whole foundation musically. That and my father and the Beatles, you know, a good
yeah.
combination.
You know, Argentina, and you may be wondering why I'm bringing that up. Argentina has a lot of Italian immigrants,
Oh
and
yeah. Well, they play bandoneon more than accordion.
yeah, and so the tango, I understand, is very heavily Italian influenced, very heavily.
Well, at some point, it all melts together in a big stew. You know, music.
Yeah,
If you notice, the folk music of various countries always has similarities. They're just
mm,
melodies and chords that have passed from generation to generation.
yeah. No, that's amazing. I like, you know, I like history, I like roots and things like that. So,
Well, plus
uh,
music of your heritage, that music employed a lot of quarter tones, a whole different way of tuning, which is what always fascinates me about instruments that play in between the keys. Like guitar is a G is a G, an A is an A. You can bend it, you can do things, make sound effects
yeah,
with it. But stuff from the Middle East and from what you were saying your mother played, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
because the Azerbaijanians, you know, that's close to Russia, so they really, really had a lot of accordion. Yeah.
So you probably wouldn't even notice that they're using quarter tones because you grew up with it. Probably just
I
sounds
grew up
normal
with
to
it,
you.
and you know, and I'm not trained like you are with music, but I'm a fan, and so I have an ear for it. I have a tremendous appreciation for it. So, um, yeah, so yeah, it is. I guess it's universal, like you were saying. So, um, tell us a little bit about high school. I'm interested in that because is that where you formed the band? Did you have like one
Yeah.
of your
Oh
early?
yeah. From the
Yeah,
first year. Yeah.
yeah. So after school, it was, you know, off to a garage someplace and you were practicing and
Well, you know, funny enough, after I think sophomore year, we got a record deal from a Brooklyn label, a little local thing in Brooklyn. So every day, pretty much, we'd go to the studio. We had all this free studio time. So I'm very comfortable in studio. I've never been nervous when the red light was on or when somebody's counting off. It's fine with me. I feel at home in a studio more than live. Live, there's too many variables. You can't control that things happen, equipment breaks,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But in the studio, I love being able to get something perfect. And I'm known for doing it quickly, one or two takes, because I'm very impatient. I am.
Yeah. Tell me, and I'll be on this just briefly. It's because of my background a little bit, but I'm just curious. How were you as a student in high school? Were you a good student?
Average,
Average?
average. No, I just
Yeah.
never, certain things never made sense to me, like math. I still, which is unusual for a musician. Most musicians are math guys, but not
Yeah.
me. I never could, it always threw me for a loop. All I know is sound and
Yeah.
music. That's always what even but when I studied music for a while in college, I did terrible because I could never relate to a note as like, for example, the whole system of do, re, mi, fa, so. Do to me is a C. It'll always be a C. If it sounds like anything other than that, because I have perfect pitch, I know what note somebody's playing when they're playing it just by hearing it. And it's maddening. If that's why the microtonal thing of the music you grew up with fascinates me so much because it's in between. It's like on regular Western instruments, we'll go like maybe you guys have in between.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you know that? Yeah. Have you been studying it or something?
No, I just, if I hear something, I want to know why it works the way
Yeah.
it works. Why does it have a reaction in me? And I've noticed over
Hmm.
the years there are certain, it's like when I was playing clubs on Staten Island, local clubs. I remember there was one song where I would play this, it was like a kind of like a shuffle beat. And I would play this
Hmm.
one chord voicing that whenever I played that chord voicing in this song, people would smile and the dancing would increase. I always found it fascinating. Certain things trigger emotions in people.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's for sure. That's for sure. Well, I mean, I just think you guys, you musicians, are special people. I love it. I think the contribution you make to society it's just unbelievable.
Everyone
Yeah,
contributes something. It's not just musicians.
that's true. That is true. That is true. But you kind of get what I'm saying because it
Yeah.
is in Farsi in the Persian language they say musiqi ghazay ruh. That means it's food for the soul. The music
Ah,
is you know.
yep.
So in Iran, in the ancient Persian and Turkish cultures, music is it's a big deal. It really is. Um, okay, so. How did you meet Mr. Joe Jackson? Now, this is a famous guy.
Well, my friend Ed Runsdale was in the band, the Night and Day tour he did,
Mhm.
and he worked with Joe in the studio. And he told Joe about me. He says, "I have this friend who plays the guitar, and he plays a little different, and he's very eclectic, like your music." So I went to his house, and we played a little bit. And they called me a little while later and said, "Would you like to work the tour? Would you like to be in the band?" I said, "Yeah." And then we started, and that went on for like 6 albums and 3 world tours.
Wow. What countries did you tour?
Europe,
Everybody or yeah.
Europe, Japan. I love Japan. Japan really that resonated to me
Oh wow.
because of their work ethic. It's like if you ordered French fries, they were arranged on the plate. They didn't just throw them on the plate. Everything was very symmetrical. I remember a story. The first tour when we toured Japan, we went out to dinner, and all those guys love sushi. I don't eat fish. I can't stand it. I can't stand the sight of it. And they just left me. They went to this sushi place. So I just wandered around on my own, which is not good because I'm very non-directional. I get lost a lot. So anyway, I go into this restaurant and everybody's talking. They look at me, and I'm the only Westerner there. And the talk all stops. And then they bring me a menu, and everybody's talking again. And then I point to something on the menu because nobody spoke English. And the guy brought it out. And when he brought it out and put it in front of me, the whole restaurant stopped talking again. And everybody turned and looked. And I took a bite. It was chicken. And I said, "Oh, this is great. Thank you." And everybody started clapping. And they were so happy that I approved their food. You
In
imagine
other
that
words,
country?
yeah, yeah. In other words, they were concerned about how good the food was, right?
Well, they knew this was probably the first time I was in Japan, and I stuck out like a sore thumb. Especially then, I had the whole pompadour hairdo, and it was great. It was just like a community thing. I loved watching the people, and everything they did was always done to the nth degree. I remember they took us to a music store because equipment gets to Japan before it gets here. They had all the latest stuff. I don't know if that's still the case, but they always had the latest stuff at the greatest prices. I spent a lot of money in Japan, but it paid off. It was stuff I used to work. And I was trying guitars, and I tried this guitar, and I told this young sales lady, hold this guitar for me. I have to get money from our manager because they don't want us to spend, the local currency ourselves. They would like to provide it for us. This way we didn't have to keep getting money, you know, changed. And
Yeah.
I said, just hold this, I'll be right back. And I couldn't find them. It took me like a half hour to get back to the counter. And this young sales girl who's about 17 or 18, she's standing where I left her, actually physically holding the guitar and crying. She thought
Hmm.
I meant she was supposed to hold the guitar and stay in that place till I got back. And I just thought, God, can you imagine that work ethic in this country?
Well, it's where I guess people like you, Janice, and me come in because we have a job to do, I think, and
Yeah.
but it's not hopeless. It's not hopeless. There's definitely hope, and we'll talk more about that. Because, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Janice is in education to some extent, and she has a PhD. So that's awesome stuff, I think, because I don't have my PhD yet. So I hope to get it one day. But
It was
that's
a lot of
wonderful.
work, boy. She worked like a dog on it. She did very
Yeah,
well.
yeah. No, that's I'm really proud of her. That's wonderful. And by the way, as you know, she didn't have to do it. She didn't have
Well,
to. I mean,
she
not
kind of
money
wanted to,
wise,
though.
not career wise. She did it because she loves learning, don't you think?
She loved helping the kids too.
Yeah,
She loves
yeah,
doing that and being in a position. She just took to that atmosphere well. She was kind of shy in those days, so in the music area, like if we got her on a session or something, if I was doing a commercial and we got her in to sing something, she'd just kind of sing it, get it, and leave. Smile. She was nice to everyone, but jingle singers were so over the top. Hi, how you doing, darling? And kissing and hugging, and she wasn't like that. She went in, did the work, was very nice to everyone and left.
yeah.
So she never really fit in that jive thing that a lot of people in the music business, they're just full of it. They just turn it on to get a job from you. And I can tell you stories when I started my first few sessions of the second guitarist who was more experienced, like just sabotaging me, giving me the wrong information about the chart. It wasn't the thing like where they would help the next guy. That didn't take place a lot, especially guitar players. They're very jealous. And I don't get it. To me, everybody does something, unique that to them that nobody else can do,
Well,
especially in music. So my whole
yeah.
thing, make it easier for people to create music, but that wasn't the vibe. It was very cutthroat here. But I could play, so it didn't matter. After a while,
Hmm.
I learned to read through Barry Galbraith, and that put me on a good path. I was able to do the sessions without sweating it too much. I could read that much anyway.
Well, in a YouTube interview you had with Caroline from Germany, she brought out that quality of yours that you're a humble person, and I tell you what, I feel like getting a loudspeaker, going out into the streets and just shouting it because it is such a rare thing, not just in your business. It's there's a lot of ego out there, period.
Oh yeah,
And a
yeah.
lot of people have ego, but it's just so nice to see. I just believe in highlighting people who are like yourself, and because we need more of it. We need more of it. That's why. Um, Anyway, what stands out to you from the Joe Jackson days albums? And then I also want to ask you about Did you spend a lot of time in England?
Yes, yes, several
Okay.
world tours, and I actually did a couple of albums over there without Joe, working for other people. So I got to know it pretty well. We did
How
the
was how was that? The whole English atmosphere.
Well, back then I loved it because I was such a Beatle freak. It was
Yeah.
nice to get the vibe. And I remember one night after we played Wembley, which was like playing Madison Square Garden here, we went to one of his friends' flats and we got a big bucket of beer from the local pub. It was so organic. And we just would dip our mugs in this barrel of beer and they listened to the Beatles and different records. And hearing it over there through their ears was very interesting because it was intense for us in America, but the Beatle thing in England was huge. It affected their lives on a cellular level, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
No,
Paul
I loved
McCartney.
it. I loved England.
Yeah.
I liked the people.
Yeah. Yeah, I like soccer a lot, so I watch a lot of Premier League but growing up with soccer, I like Argentina the best. I like Leo Messi and who by
I'm
the
a
way is
non-sports guy. I don't follow any
yeah,
sports.
who by the way, Leo Messi, that big soccer star is Italian descent.
Huh.
So, yeah, Argentinian but Italian descent.
I never
Okay,
heard.
yeah. So, what stood out to you from the albums you did with Joe? Which ones you like the best?
Um, it's hard to say. There's good things and bad things about all of them. The
Mm-hmm.
most pleasant one was the first one because we were all together and it was all my friends in the band. And we just had a wonderful time on the road. I mean, we'd see these other bands come in. We'd be sitting in our tuxedos playing backgammon, sipping tea. And these
Mm.
other bands, I remember one day we were on a show with Duran Duran and they walked by our dressing room and they looked at us and they just looked horrified that we were in tuxedos and that we were sipping tea and playing backgammon. That they requested that we not sit next to them at the big close of the show when all the acts come back. It was just funny, but that was the reaction. Joe was he didn't like any of the trappings of the fame. Like
Well,
we
that's
didn't meet
great.
a lot of people. Well, yes and no. I mean, there were a lot of
No.
people. Like we were playing a festival in Montreux, big
Uh-huh.
festival, thousands of
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
and we're waiting. We had finished our set, and we were in backstage, which was outdoors. And Chrissy Hine comes walking up to him, and
Oh, Pretenders.
she
Yeah.
says, "Excuse me," she says, "I just wanted to tell you, I love the set. I love your music." And he
Wow.
just did this thing that only he does. He just looked at her and kind of grunted and looked away. It's like he doesn't certain things he just doesn't take to. He's kind of shy and very private. So he
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah.
Then when she left, he goes, "Was that?" I said, "Yeah," because I was dying to meet her. I'm a huge Pretenders fan.
Yeah. I saw them. I saw them.
Are they
They
good?
were, yeah, yeah. They were with the Kings. They opened up for the Kings years ago. But that's back when you could see a concert for like $20. So
Yeah, not now.
I saw a whole bunch of them. But anyway, yeah, I saw the Police when they were just starting. They had Regatta de Blanc,
Oh
and
wow.
yeah, and I saw them in like a Rainbow Music Hall, which is not around anymore, and it was something like 1,000 people, so it's a small hall. But I
They've
loved it.
been amazing live.
Yeah, yeah, it really was terrific. No, I'm a big music fan. I really am. So walk me through your albums, and we're about to wrap up here pretty soon. So walk me through your albums. Which ones did you like doing? Oh, and I did want to ask you one other thing, which kind of ties into your own music too. When you were playing with Joe Jackson, he's playing piano, right?
Yeah,
And
for the most part.
how was that to keep up with? Like, he's playing piano, you're playing guitar, maybe other instruments, but how was that to I'm just curious about the live aspect of that.
I'm not sure I get you questioning.
Well, because they're different instruments. Now, to you, that's normal. I mean, a lot of musicians, that's normal. You just play together. But as a
Well,
listener, I'm
but here's
just
the
wondering.
thing.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Go
yeah.
ahead. Sorry.
But as a listener, I'm just wondering how you make that work. Like different instruments together.
Well, his arrangements. His stuff
Yeah.
was very heavily arranged. Like he knew what he wanted on the guitar. The problem I always had with that is he didn't know the instrument, and sometimes he didn't know the limitations of the instrument. He'd write something where you play down here and then jump up here, which you can't really do. I'm an
Mhm.
up guy. I like to punch things in and get them perfect. But he played well. He's a good piano player for his music, and
Yeah.
everything was arranged so I stayed out of the way of the piano, and the piano stayed out of the way of me. It's a different instrument.
Yeah. No, I'm just curious as a listener because I always wondered about that. How that works, with music. But no, thank you for explaining. Um, so, what about your albums? Walk me through them. The ones you want to walk me through.
Well, we
Uh,
got we
yeah.
our first album was something called Modern Marriage, which we did for A&M.
Uh huh.
Joe had brought us in to them to get us a deal, and he co-produced it. And I was very proud of that. I played every note on it by hand. It was
Mm-hmm.
before sequencing. So we ended up in the end sequencing some drums because the technology had been available. And me not being a full-time drummer, I didn't really have the strength to carry on a long time playing. Because rock and roll takes it out of you. But I was very proud of that album. I mean, to me, it still stands as good 80s music. And then
Yeah.
after that, there was a time where we didn't do anything. And then we did Soda Bed, Soda Rise, which was a children's jazz album. I was partners on that with a former student, but that didn't work out. Personality wise, he just wasn't a good fit, to be a
Mm-hmm.
part with. And that was great. That did very well. And then after that, I got into the swinging guitar sounds, the three albums, jazz album, the Coyote, the latest one, the old side eye, and the one before that, retro cool. Oh, what the heck is the name of it? I can't think of the name before it. It's so funny.
Um, oh, jazz and pop.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm blocking it because of the pandemic was such an unpleasant time. I kind of blocked the memory of everything out from then. But the latest one is the one I hope you would show your viewers the cover and some of the liner notes and tell them where they can get it. I'll send you the information. And
I'll uh, I'll see what I can do after we're done. I'll see what I can do to decorate a little bit. But
you
but
just
yeah,
show it at the end. Show the cover, and I'll give you some links to where they can tune in on Spotify and YouTube, and where they can buy it too, for that
yeah,
matter.
absolutely, absolutely. Um, no, that's great. Well, I love your music, so that's easy. I mean,
Oh,
I think
cool.
I think you're a great musician.
Well, I've gotten a
So
reaction from this
yeah,
latest one. I've never gotten a reaction like this from musicians. Usually
yeah,
they're too cool to say anything, but I'm having friends call me and say, "This thing is different. I've never heard music like this. It's very different. You've come up with something original," which in and of itself is good because I always try to do something that hasn't been done before. That's my whole thing. That's why the albums are always so different from one another.
so, do you want me to do like a third video and then show the albums? Is that kind of what you have in mind,
Well, if
or
you want to, you could just at the end put them up. You run
okay,
credits at the end.
okay, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, just put the covers up and say Vinny's album is available such and such. I'll send you the information. I might have sent it already in an email.
okay. We have
Oh no,
a
we talked on the phone, right? Our first contact was an email, but I can
yeah, yeah.
give something to you.
We have a record store downtown, and I love it. I've been there. In fact, I've done a show on them. The Downtown Sound. I'll talk to
Where do you
those.
live?
I live in Greeley, which is just a bit north of Denver.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Nick Nolte went to school here, by the way.
No kidding.
Yeah, yeah. The University of Northern Colorado. We have Little Theater of the Rockies, and he was involved in that for a couple of years. There's pictures of him.
I remember
Uh,
playing Red Rocks. We loved it there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We have, and Glenn Miller was raised not too far from here. So
Oh, really?
yeah, oh yeah.
Didn't know that.
So we have a little bit of history, but not like anything like New York. But we do have our share of it. Um, okay, well, so where can people? Well, before I go there, uh, kids wanting to be Vinny, they can study music, go to college, maybe teach music, maybe. Get involved in a record company? What do you think?
Anything I'd have to say about it is antiquated because the business has changed so much. It's not what it
Yeah.
was when I was coming up. Anything I could advise them doesn't exist anymore because there's no record business. People don't buy music. Music has been totally devalued. It's the one thing that bothers me. I like a lot of the new music. Certain stuff I gravitate more to than others. And these days, my major thing is listening to jazz and bebop and that kind of thing. But anything
Hmm.
I'd have to say, the only advice I can give you is if anybody feels like they want to do it, if they have no choice, if they wake up in the morning and the first thing they want to do is play or write, then they're going to be musicians. Whatever that means nowadays, I don't know. It doesn't mean what it meant when I was coming up. There were many ways to make a living when I came.
Yeah. Okay. No, I mean, it's practical. It's reality. So they need to hear that as well. Uh, but anyway, so how can people reach you?
Uh, well, I have a lot of stuff on YouTube, or you can actually put up my email address. I answer
Okay.
email pretty good, which is vazmusic@aol.com. And I'll
Okay.
send you the links for people to tune in to listen to the album on Spotify and YouTube. And then there's a list of stores that carry it as well. That
Okay.
would be
Sounds
great.
good. Sounds good. Vinny, I can't thank you enough. You have been just very impressive to me. Frankly, your personality, more than anything, just
It's very
you,
kind of you. Thank you.
you're a wonderful human being. The resume you have is a huge one, and I'm going to brag about it. Your resume, but you have a huge resume. But look at the niceness you have, how you treat us like uh, you're like one of us. So I just thank you so much for being
Well,
that
why
way.
wouldn't I? I mean, I
Yeah,
am one of
yeah,
you. I'm a human being.
yes. Well, thank you for saying that. I
Sometimes
appreciate
I
it.
wonder about it, but yeah, I am a human being, I think. My
No,
wife
no,
might disagree.
thank you for saying that. Anyway, lots of love your way and your family and your wonderful wife. Please take care of yourselves, and God willing, we'll be in touch
Back
for,
at you.
yeah, God willing, we'll be in touch for future projects.
Okay, keep in touch.
All right. Thank
Take care.
you.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.